Welcome back. We're going to take a look at our health corner now, and we're going to give you a health interview. Now, as winter kicks off, respiratory illnesses are on the rise, and flu is likely to stick around all winter. Now, the body is said to not be as effective at fighting a virus when cold air enters the nose and upper airways. So viruses often spread more easily in the winter. Now, to talk to us more on this, we are joined, actually also to get a few tips, we are joined by General Practitioner Dr. Julita Kitwe Mbangula. Doctor, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure to have you. What are the most common illnesses associated in winter, Doctor?
I love the beginning of your introduction when you said it's most commonly caused by viruses, and that's exactly what causes these illnesses. The one that is most commonly known is the common cold, obviously, but we also have to look at other things that cause flu-like symptoms, such as bacteria. A small portion of it also causes flu, and it causes things like strep throat and pneumonia, just to mention a few.
All right, and let's talk about symptoms associated with these illnesses. What are they?
I think after the pandemic, we're really good at classifying these symptoms. So we usually want to classify them as mild, moderate to severe symptoms. The mild ones being just having a low-grade fever, to a running nose and a sore throat, as well as a cough. But as we move on to the more moderate symptoms, we're looking at things like general body weakness, chest pains, headaches, muscle aches. And of course, as we lean towards the more severe symptoms, we're looking at things that we call tachycardia, which means an increased heart rate, tachypnea, which is an increased respiratory rate or the breathing rate of someone. And then this obviously will lead to respiratory failure.
Right. There are also so many ways, to boost our immune system, of course, for one who wants to get better. And especially, like I said, there's so many ways to boost our immune systems to prevent winter flu and colds, etc. Just tell us a bit how one can go about that.
I mean, of course, the first advice would be to adopt a healthy living diet. So the food that you ingest is basically where you're going to get your immune strength from. I'd like to say that you take care of your body so the body can take care of you when you're sick. So that should be like the number one tip. And of course, like increasing and improving your physical activity, that's also very important. There are other measures that you can actually take. For example, taking supplements that are rich in vitamin C, that are rich in zinc, probiotics, and also food that have a high protein diet that could really work for you.
Right. And Doctor, if you just go back to to COVID-19, we do know of the home remedies that were suggested or quite widely spread to understand that those actually could help heal. Would you advise those in a time like this? Would they? Do you think that they strongly would work compared to prescribed medication?
I think. As a medical doctor, I'm very scientific, so I would not recommend home therapies over prescribed medication, but I do understand that it really, really helps. So, for example, home remedies like aromatherapy, I know that growing up in households, people can use eucalyptus oil and use that for steaming to just open up the airway. That really, really helps. There is an amazing cocktail that really helps during this time. So mixing lemon with warm water and honey and ginger, that can really help you during a time like this. Of course, taking vitamins, multivitamins, drinking soups and broth and warm fluids, avoiding crowds, just using preventative measures that make sure that you're not infected will basically just assist you not to get any illnesses, or at least make it self-limiting as much as possible.
Right. And is it advisable to strengthen babies and toddlers' immune systems too? Because, I mean, flus tend to affect their entire household. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing when it comes to babies, especially those that are less than 6 months, they're still building up their immune system. So most of it really comes from breast milk they get from their mothers. So on top of that, you can really just give supplements, and you can just go to your nearest general practitioner to get a prescription, or you can even just go to the pharmacy and get over-the-counter multivitamins and supplements that can really boost up the baby's immune system.
Apart from the medication that you actually mentioned, how effective is the flu shot that is so popular, and why is it that you can't get this shot when you're already sick?
Okay, so in order to understand the concept of getting a flu vaccine, a vaccine basically, it comes in different shapes and forms. So ideally you get either proteins from a live virus, or you get a live virus, but the strength is not so much to cause an illness, but your body is supposed to recognize this vaccine once it enters your body, and your body is supposed to produce antibodies to fight it. That is the whole concept behind getting a virus. Now, when it comes to a flu vaccine, ideally you're supposed to get it at the beginning of the winter season. It takes about 2 weeks for it to set in, and then it's supposed to last for approximately 6 months. It is 40 to 60% effective. There is a chance that you will still get a flu, but it's not to the degree that you would typically expect. And the reason why we really try not to give it to people that are already sick is you are being injected with an attenuated live vaccine. So it's a virus that you're being injected with. So if you're already sick, your immune system will be overwhelmed, and it's going to be extremely difficult to now fight off the illness that you already have, plus the vaccine that's given.
All right. Lastly, Doctor, any additional advice, tips that you would like to suggest to the public?
I would just probably suggest that we really do just comply with the regulations as we did when we had the pandemic. So we know that when it comes to flu, it's an airborne, and these particles that travel during the air. So practice good hygiene, avoid crowds, make sure that you wash your hands, you take your vitamins, you take lots of fluids, and you keep warm, especially it seems like this winter is going to be very, very cold. And if you're suspecting that you're having any symptoms and they're overwhelming, that you just obviously go refer yourself to the nearest general practitioner or GP around you to assist.
Dr. Julita Kitwe Mbangula, thank you so much for making the time to talk to us, and thank you so much for the advice and the tips that you suggested to the public, of course, during the time of winter, and of course, trying to be against flu. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Goodbye.
Bye.